So game number 2 tomorrow night. How about we take a look at Providence taking on Kansas here. 7:29 scheduled tip-off time there. 141 as a opening total. Kansas 8, 7.5, even some 7s starting to pop around now. So there is some Providence love in the marketplace here, Ralph. Are you feeling Providence being able to get the best of Bill Self in Kansas in this one?
Well, I couldn't get to either side on this. I look at Providence, and we all know that as far as the luck factor goes, they won so many close games, but Dave's pointed out numerous times, while it falls into the luck category of Ken Palm, it also means you learned how to win all your close games. They did a great job getting to 27-5, but, you look at who they've played in the tournament, and clearly, color me unimpressed. You beat South Dakota State by 8, and then they played Richmond, but let's not forget, Richmond was playing their 6th game in 9 days after that brutal conference tournament stretch. So they played a worn-out team and did end up blowing them out. You look at Kansas, though, and I'm not impressed either. You beat Texas Southern, and then you don't cover against Creighton. Joe, you and I were following this game along, drinking on Saturday afternoon, and you're playing a Creighton team without your point guard, without your number 2 scorer, who only played 6 players the entire game, and 3 starters had to play 40 minutes. Yet you can only win that game by 7. So, you break it down, and I'm not impressed with Creighton, although, you look at Remy Martin, the way he's playing a point guard, he's playing like an all-tournament type player, maybe perhaps the player of the tournament. But they're not getting the side support from Ajabaji or McCormick. So I'm going to call for a lower scoring game. Slightest of leans for me with Providence plus the points. But again, neither team has impressed me one iota so far this tournament.
So they're going to have to shoot better, I think, here. Providence will, in order to be able to go toe-to-toe with Kansas here, Steve. But it's that underdog trend we keep hearing, right? Providence as a dog has been nothing but money. It's been like that all season long. So what do you think here? 7-2 straight up, 8-1 against the number in that underdog role this year. Do you trust them in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, they've won a lot of games straight up, so not a surprise they've been a good dog, because I would have ventured to guess most of those were probably straight up wins, or at least half of them. That luck factor that we've been having fun with all season at Ken Palm, of course, is basically one-loss record. Doesn't really factor in the point spread. So when you get to this range here, it's not much of a handicapping tool, but basically it's saying that Providence one-loss record should have been a lot weaker than it was this year. They won a lot of kind of toss-up games. But as Ralph said and Dave's pointed out as well, and we talked about this game, by the way, with Dave on WagerTalk today. So even though we lost his connection here, go back and check out that replay, as he has in-depth analysis here of his Providence Friars. And he actually did lean towards Providence on the show today at WagerTalk today. I actually would lean Kansas. So Kansas likes to play fast. I think they can play at their tempo in this game. And the key is going to be the tempo. Providence wants to slow things down. They're one of the slowest offensive teams in the country. But what's interesting is while Kansas's tempo is 64th, their offensive tempo is 43rd, but their opponents are at 260. So they've actually allowed their opponents to play below average pace. So they're comfortable with what Providence wants to do. I just think Kansas does a lot of things better overall. By the way, getting back to that luck factor, Providence still the luckiest team out of all 358. Loyal viewers of the show here remember NC Wilmington. We've had some fun with them. They finished off nicely last night in double overtime, winning the CBI tournament as a dog against Middle Tennessee, who had been the best point spread team in the country this year. And Wilmington is now 3rd in the luck index. They've been 2nd for a while. So like Ralph and Dave have both said, these lucky teams can continue to win. And a lot of sharps have faded Providence this year without success. But I think that run ends tomorrow night on Friday, as Kansas has been really fortunate. I wasn't sure Kansas was really a true 1 seed, but I was looking at the bracket. I kept saying, man, do they have an easy path? And boy, has it played out that way. They've got, Providence here, an overrated team, and then they get the winner of Miami of Florida and Iowa State on Sunday. Iowa State was a slight favorite. Now they're a dog. There's been some sharp money on Miami of Florida, but that Iowa State matchup could be difficult for Kansas. They obviously know each other well, and Iowa State can slow them down. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch. They beat Iowa State by 9 and beat them by 1 at home. So Kansas gets by Providence, and they probably would rather play Miami on Sunday, would be my guess.
All right, good stuff there. Should be
Joe,
a – go ahead, Ralph.
Obviously, we all have a good friend, Mark Lawrence, who's over at Sports Memo. And I just want to, because we were only going over 2 games, I want to just throw out 3 tidbits from his Playbook Sweet 16 newsletter. Teams that in the Elite 8 round, if you upset the number 1 seed in the Sweet 16, you are 14-0 as an underdog. So keep an eye on that. So if you play on a tournament team in the Elite 8 round, if you beat the number 1 seed as a dog in the Sweet 16 round, 14-0 in the next round. So we'll see if anyone can knock off the Zags or Kansas. And a couple other notes, number 1 seeds over the last 8 years in the Sweet 16 round, Arizona, Gonzaga, and Kansas have gone 16-5-1 against the spread. And favorites of 11 or more, this is the Purdue-St. Peter's game, favorites of 11 or more have only gone 4-12 ATS. So just 3 tidbits on a game we talked about and maybe another situation. And again, those are from Mark Lawrence's Playbook Sweet 16 newsletter.